estrogen overload, we're going to get into a little bit of a different topic, okay? So we talked about estrogen dominance and how estrogen can dominate the body, especially as it relates to the other female hormone, progesterone. Because progesterone is going down, but estrogen is going up because of all the xenoestrogens that we're bringing into our body that are mimicking estrogens, and so we have all this fake estrogen in our body, and our progesterone are going down, so the hormonal balance between estrogen and progesterone are getting way, 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 way off, and that's a serious problem. Again, we refer to it as estrogen dominance. It's real. It's out there. We need to take a look at it, and again, this is something we can look at through some blood tests, some questionnaires can tell us a lot of information, but we have to look at estrogen dominance and how it relates to your insulin, how it relates to your your progesterone level and all these other different hormones. So, it's a little complex. Not really. It's kind of simple if you just kind of follow the basic steps. But one of the things we do need to look at in terms of weight loss as we get older is your level of estrogen. Now, estrogen resistance is often accompanied by the most complaints: fatigue, weight gain. As women approach menopause, they become increasingly intolerant to carbohydrates, and it's easier to gain weight. So basically what they're saying is that you become intolerant to carbohydrates, you start eating more because you have these cravings, and with these cravings and estrogen is dropping, you're actually doing more, putting on fat more, which increases weight more. So when we look at this, afternoon blood, sugar crashes, carbohydrate cravings, mainly with insulin resistance. So insulin resistance, and we're going to talk about this as more when we go into testosterone, has a little bit more dramatic effect on males, but females can have it too. So we look at it: estrogen dominance, insulin resistance, drop in testosterone level, increase in inflammation. All these other things are leading to, within the female, estrogen issues, which will minimize the effect of weight loss. So we have to get in there and work with people and find out what's going on, and that could be questionnaires, that could be blood work, that could be many, many different things. But if this is something that you have an interest in and you want to pursue this a little more, you can always get in contact with me at my website, which is basically just drdonharris.com. And we can go from there. My phone number is 334-3000. We can surely talk on the phone too. So don't put estrogen down. It's a very, very important hormone that maintains body weight. Okay? So what we're going to do now is, we're actually going to go through this. We kind of talked about that a little bit. So now what we're going to do is go into testosterone, the main hormone for men. All right, so basically, as it says, testosterone levels isn't just for men over 40. Yes, men over 40 tend to drop their testosterone level, and that's just kind of a natural process that testosterone levels drop as we get older. Both in male and female, and I'm sure you've seen the commercials on TV for all the ED products, because of low testosterone and low this and low that and all the different things that are going on. And we're going to do a lecture coming up very, very soon that will talk about ED, or erectile dysfunction, and how Viagra and Cialis, you may not need it because there's so many different supplements out there that would actually increase the nitric oxide in the cells and have the exact same effect. But of course, no one wants you to know that. So that's a talk that we're going to come up pretty soon. So, but basically, with this, tending to be over 40, you do lose testosterone more than you're younger. But as you're younger, you're losing testosterone too. Remember, testosterone is the anabolic hormone that builds muscle tissue. That's what young guys strive for. That's why they take all the anabolic steroids, because it increases their testosterone level. Well, that's obviously not the reason you want to go, but like in my case, all right, I'm 59 years old. I am not a spring chicken, although sometimes I feel like I'm 39 years old, and most of the time I act like I'm 29 years old. But in the previous experience, I unfortunately in 2016 I got a little lazy. I try to keep my weight around 170, 175, and I try to keep my body fat percentage around 16 to 18 percent, which are pretty aggressive goals, but I usually do pretty good with that. Well, through a series of whatever would happen last year, I ended up actually popping up to about 182, and my body fat actually popped up to about 28%. I was not happy with myself around Christmas, so I decided that I was really going to go do a workout. So 3 months later, after pretty aggressive workout, working with a couple trainers, working with Sharon Stewart, working with Tyler, at Pride Fitness, and not a whole lot was happening. And what I realized is that my testosterone level has dropped so much in the 15 years. What I used to be able to do 20 years ago, and to be able to put on muscle tissue and lower my body fat, and get in shape and get the fatigue on, it's a lot harder, to maintain those same objectives while doing the same exercise. Things change. So, I have to work a little harder, work a little more diligently, work smarter to maintain, or even to get close to where I was before. Then you have the aches and pains as you get older. Your shoulders hurt, your knees hurt, your back hurts, all these different things going on. And I'm not complaining. I'm still doing it, but it does change. When you get into your 40s and 50s, your biochemistry and things start to change. But it doesn't mean you should give up. It means you should work harder, because you know that things are changing, and you want to make sure that you're as healthy as you possibly can as you get older. So I've had that eye-opening experience in my weight loss in terms of gaining muscle tissue and losing weight also. So the cows have come home to let me know that I'm not 28 years old anymore. So if you're a human being, male or female, who wants to lose fat and keep it off, testosterone is very important. You have to maintain high levels of testosterone levels, because that's the muscle building protein. We have to build muscle tissue, and the only way to build muscle tissue is by increasing our testosterone level. And we're going to talk about some ways of how to maintain your testosterone level, both in men and female. So basically, the studies are coming out and say 40% of obese men have lower testosterone levels. That's a high number. When almost half of obese men have lower testosterone levels, that's not a good thing. But the science out there is saying, and they're not sure about it yet, that does decrease in testosterone level cause obesity? All right, so as the testosterone levels drop, does that increase obesity? Or does obesity increase testosterone levels? And it's kind of like one of these double-edged swords. So I think there's some more research that needs to be done on that. But let's just say people who are obese do not produce the testosterone that they need to maintain muscle tissue. What's causing the decline in testosterone? We have a little bit of an idea. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I don't think it's a whole picture, but I think it's a pretty good insight into why it's hard to lose weight, especially when we have a lot of fat tissue on us. Okay, so overall, it's pretty clear that testosterone levels are important for achieving, maintaining a healthy weight. Okay, so we kind of know that. We've talked about that before. So weight loss does not improve testosterone levels. So you can lose all the weight you want. You can lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, but that's not going to improve your testosterone level. Just because you lose weight, your testosterone levels are not going to go up, all right? And those, again, with supplements come in, diet comes in, different things come in that are going to increase your testosterone levels. And you want your free testosterone levels increased also. And we can talk about that at some other time. So just by losing weight, you're not going to increase testosterone. So that's something, again, we can talk about at a later time. And obviously, testosterone works differently in men and women. I always hear women come into my office, and they're doing a partner, restriction in diet. And what happens is that the woman inevitably complains about, my husband can do this, cheat, and he's doing a little bit, and I'm on a diet perfectly, everything is going great, and he's losing 15 pounds, and I haven't lost anything. Well, it's very simple. Men carry more testosterone, which is going to build muscle tissue. and lose weight. Women carry more estrogen, which is going to lower testosterone levels, and you're going to build fat. Don't blame me. This is a way that, you know, God and the environment and everything has developed in this way. Women tend to need fat because, you know, they're having babies, which you need fat. You're gonna be producing breast milk, which, you know, you need to have fat for that. So there are more reasons why women tend to carry more body fat than men. So so it's normal for guys to lose weight at a faster rate than a woman. But again, a guy has to be careful that he doesn't want to lose too much weight too fast also. Because at that point, if he loses weight too fast, then what's going to happen is that a lot of that weight is just going to be water weight, maybe some muscle tissue, and so you want to lose weight at a very, very slow, the tortoise wins the race, weight loss program. And again, that's where people like me come in and kind of put you on a program, analyze everything, look for what we need to do, meet with you, accountability, and kind of figure out what's really going on with your body, because everyone is different in their goals and how they're going to respond to things. So this next slide is a little bit complicated. So with age, you increase the levels of what's called sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBBC. Very, very important hormone in the body, because what SHBC does, it attaches to testosterone, okay, and locks it up, which then decreases your testosterone level. So as we age, you know, our testosterone level is already dropping, right, because of that's just kind of an age-related process. But as we age, we're also increasing the sex hormone binding globulin, which is now taking even more testosterone out of the system. So we're left with even less testosterone, because the sex hormone binding globulin is going up and tying up the sex hormone binding globulin, not making it available to be used by muscle tissue or by whatever tissue needs to use it. So there's kind of a double-edged sword there, you know. So, and again, this is kind of something that we have to deal with age, but the more you know, and this is what I'm trying to do, is to teach you how to make better choices. And I hope you're getting a lot out of these videos. But again, I would probably recommend that you may want to come in and do a consultation and kind of go over this a little bit if you're really serious about losing weight. Because again, it's not about calories in and calories out. So the next slide that we're going to show is basically just how it's kind of a domino effect. It's a repetitive pattern. It's a broken record. So you decrease testosterone levels. Okay, that's normal. All right, whether it's with age, whether it's with drugs, whatever, testosterone levels decrease. Well, when testosterone levels decrease, you get fatigued, right? Because you know your muscles are fading away. There's a lot of reasons why you get fatigued and you get tired when testosterone levels are going down. So you get tired. Well, you get tired, you're not exercising as much, right? You're tired, you want to sleep on the couch, you want to watch Netflix, you want to do all these different things. The last thing you want to do when you're tired because your testosterone levels are going down is go out and running or doing any type of weights. So basically what happens is that you accumulate fat because you're not burning the calories and you're eating more and more. And so your fat accumulation goes up, or your lipid oxidation. All right, then that affects the metabolism of protein, carbohydrate, and fatty acids. And that's a whole other ball game, because again, your body has fuel sources that it wants to use. It wants to use glucose first, fat second, and protein at the very, 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 very last. But if you're having these issues with low testosterone levels and physical activity and all these other things that are being altered, it's going to alter the way your body produces, affects your protein, your fat, and your carbohydrates, and that's not a good thing. Is it? Like I said, the number one fuel source should be glucose, then fat, then protein, and this kind of screws it up a little bit. So we need to keep an eye on that. So decreased cellular function, okay, as your cells get clogged up, the cells don't work right, the biphospholipid bilayer isn't working right, you're not getting what's in and what's out of the cell, so you're having a major problem with your cell. So as cellular mitochondrial function decreases as a fuel source, what to do it increases glucose. And so now your predominant source of fuel is glucose. And this is all, again, having to do with testosterone level going down. What happens when we talked about, if you don't remember, what happens when we talked about other issues when glucose level goes up? Well, insulin levels go up, right? Because insulin levels has to take the glucose out of the blood sugar. If it can't get it into the cell, it has to bring it into the fat. I mean, it's the liver, bring it into the, which converts into fat, and then you start getting fatty liver, and you start getting fat. So as testosterone levels go down, cellular mitofunction goes down, fat goes down as a fuel source, and you increase glucose as a fuel source. Now, for those who have watched the previous lectures, you know that as glucose level goes up, insulin level goes up, and then we get into that insulin resistance again, which we've talked about 3 or 4 times, where insulin just cannot get the glucose into the cell wall, and so it takes it to the liver and it's stored as fat. So we can see how this whole thing is a domino effect with all these different estrogens and progesterones and how things are working and why things are not burning fat and why things are storing fat. And so you think it's just, again, this little simple carbohydrates in and carbohydrates out. It just doesn't work that way anymore. And this again is another reason why it's hard to lose fat, you know, when your hormones are out of control. And again, like I said, we've talked about other hormones. We're talking about estrogen and progesterone today. So bodies that run mostly on glucose, all right, which we don't want to, but bodies that tend to run more on glucose store fat. So you have to have a combination of storing fat or running on fat and running on glucose. And again, when you're not doing that because your insulin resistance and your testosterone levels is dropping, which is popping up your glucose levels, your body's going to run more on glucose, produce more insulin, and then you have this whole dynamic process going again with insulin resistance and weight being deposited around the midsection by cortisol. And so the bottom line is increase insulin, you decrease sex hormone binding globulin, which doesn't bind to the testosterone or the estrogen, and then you have problems with that. So high levels of insulin definitely have an issue with that. So so let's go here, testosterone. Okay, so what are some of the foods that you can take with testosterone? The foods that increase estrogen. Now I know we're kind of going back to the estrogen, testosterone, what's good for males, what's good for females, but we're going to try to combine the two here. So number one, and this is nothing new, you've heard about this many times, is that carbohydrates and refined sugars, you need to get rid of them, all right? You know, when you eat carbohydrates and refined sugars, what happens? You increase your insulin because now all this glucose is running around your bloodstream, and the bloodstream is saying, hey, we need to get this glucose out of the blood. And when that happens, or if that doesn't happen, then your sex hormone binding globulin goes down. So you don't have enough sex hormone binding globulin to bind estrogen, and so you don't have enough estrogen being bound. Your estrogens are going up, your progesterone levels are going down, and what did we just talk about 15 minutes ago? Estrogen dominance. And estrogen dominance is a very serious issue in terms of having to lose weight. So if your progesterones are going down and your estrogens are going up, basically based on carbohydrate and fine sugars, you're not going to lose weight. There's a whole kind of a protective mechanism in there from the body that protects us from doing that. So the first thing you need to do, both male and female, is really just as we talked about many times, is minimize your processed foods, minimize your carbohydrates, and minimize your sugars. And that will have a dramatic effect on how estrogen and testosterone affect one another. So they both play off of one another. So the second one is dairy. I live in Vermont. I respect the dairy farmers here and the cattle industry here, but let's face it, a lot of the dairy is loaded with antibiotics, it's loaded with growth hormone, and it's loaded with estrogen. And so every time you drink a glass of milk, you're getting in a good level of estrogen, you're getting in a good level of growth hormone, and you're getting a good level other toxins that are found in the milk. And again, I'm not trying to step on anyone's feet here, but cattle here and milk are loaded with estrogens, unless you can find the organic milk, in which I highly recommend. Non-pasteurized, non-homogenized, organic milk is the best thing for you, okay? Don't worry about pasteurization or anything else. Go to the farm, get a nice clean batch of organic, unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk. One of the best things for you. So stay away from animal products, stay away from dairy, stay away from anything that has artificial growth hormones in there, that has estrogen, byproducts in there, that has antibiotics in there, and a whole other things that are going to affect, obviously, weight loss, because again, it's clogging up the system. The cell wall wants to breathe. The cell wall wants to let things in, let things out. All these different things that clogged up the cell wall. So things that should be coming out of the cell wall are staying in there, and things that want to get in from the bloodstream into the cell wall to feed the mitochondria aren't getting in there. So one of the things you have to do is look at dairy and meat and a few other things to find out what's in there. Organic meat, I think, is great. I think you should be using organic meat, or organic dairy, I think, is absolutely great. The last one, soy. Soy is again a pseudoestrogen, which gets into your body and it acts as estrogen, and again increases estrogen, but not in a healthy way. It increases kind of false estrogen. So what we've found out now is that you want to stay away from soy as much as you possibly can, because it's not doing you any good also. So that's one thing we need to look at, is all the people who are drinking soy, edamame, soy yogurt, all these different things, need to start cutting back on that a little bit, because soy will mimic estrogen. It is a xenoestrogen. It will get in your body. It will have negative effects on your body. So if you look at the three kind of basic foods that you need to start kind of working with your testosterone and your estrogen levels, would be carbohydrates and refined sugars, cut them down. Dairy, kind of cut them down, unless you can get organic milk, which has nothing of that in it. And soy, and if you can get a soy that doesn't have GMO in it, then that's a benefit also. So we're going to kind of finalize here, and hopefully you made it through this session. And again, I know I think I've gone way over today, but anyways, so again, we talked about the issues here with obesity and different things that actually cause the three top causes of death in the U.S. and just kind of look at it, that it's lifestyle. So I kind of want to go over this. I'm going to leave you now with a video. I hope it works, with a guy that I admire, Ludwig, out in California, University of California, San Francisco. He's a pediatric oncologist, and the guy is brilliant. And I just took one small video clip from hours and hours of watching him, and I just kind of want to kind of see what he has to say, and hopefully we can go from here. So hopefully you can hear this.
How did the entire world get this fat, this fast? Did everyone just become a bunch of gluttons and sloths? Obesity's been around since there were people. It's been around for 50,000 years, easy. And it was around before McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. It was around before Coca-Cola. Obesity is part of the human condition, and there are evolutionary reasons why obesity has been selected for in individual populations, because people who store energy are more likely to be able to survive periods of famine. So there is a selection process that goes on all the time. But none of those things explain how in 30 years we have gone from being svelte, if you will, to basically being unbelievably sick. That's what an epidemic, or a pandemic in this case, looks like. That's what plague, influenza looked like. And the question is, what would be the exposure that could account for this? And if it was just gluttons and sloths, how do you explain the obese 6-month-old? We have an epidemic of obese 6-month-olds in this country. They don't diet and exercise. You're going to call them a bunch of gluttons and sloths. This goes way beyond the question of personal responsibility.
Okay, so, in kind of conclusion with all this, and for those who have actually watched all of this and watched the 3 shows, I think you should be rewarded, because it can be kind of dry, it can be kind of intimidating. The information that's coming out is very, very new. I do want to thank you for putting up with this. If you haven't watched all the videos, I know it's tough, but I would recommend to break it up. We're broken it up into 2 half-hour sessions to watch everything, because there's a lot of good information in there. If you do have any questions, again, my website is drdonharris.com. You can always go on there and look at some of the information that we have posted. We're going to be sending out emails very, very soon. If you want to get on our email list, you can actually call the office, 334-3000, and give us your email, and we can send you out an email every single week. Again, we're doing some 5 to Thrives, which are going to be quick 5-minute videos that are going to talk about a lot of different things. And if you want to go to the website, you can actually go to my website, which is drdonharris.com, and get some more information there. So I hope you enjoyed these videos on weight loss, that it's not just about calories in, calories out, it's about hormonal control. If you have any questions, concerns, if you want to just talk to me, please feel free to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. We're going to be doing another talk in another week or 2, a little different. I think we're going to be doing animals. We're going to be doing some natural therapies for some animals. So I do appreciate everyone listening. I do appreciate the feedback that we're getting back, and I'm thoroughly enjoying doing this. So it's definitely a win-win situation. So until we talk again, until we meet again, I just wish everyone a happy and healthy life. Thank you.